So if you're setting goals and they're aligned to the highest values and they're prioritized actions and you see it in your mind's eye and you follow the strategy, you have moderate, focused, inspired actions. Hi, this is Dr. Demartini. I'd like to take a few moments and have a nice little conversation about taking actions in life or hesitations in life, or another aspect, doing something too much or too little. And I'll pack that by explaining this. In all probability, you've had a moment in your life where you were maybe on a weekend relaxing, not doing much around the house possibly, and all of a sudden a friend contacted you and said, hey, they're in the neighborhood and they're stopping by and they'll be there in 15 minutes. And you have two different responses. You're dirty, you're not cleaned up, your hair looks like a mess, you're just cashing out, and all of a sudden this person's coming and you really would rather not be seen that way. So you got two options when you're under that anxiety. You could run around the house and clean up the house really quick and quickly get your hair in together and just go rushing around and doing things in hyperdrive. Or you could sit there and throw yourself on the bed and just give up and just say, the heck with it. I guess I have to just face the idea that I look like crap today and they're going to see me. And that's hypodrive. You could commit in actions and go into hyper, or you could just give up and go the other direction. When you're under an anxiety like that, you have two responses. Too much of an activity, hyper, imagine yourself running around and cleaning up the place, everything else, getting your hair fixed up, like that, then get 15 minutes to do it. Or just go the heck with it, give up, forget it, stop. So when you're under an anxiety, you can go into hyper and hypo. You've heard the term hype in the business and success world and selling world and things like that. Somebody selling hype. Hyper and hypo is that. Nothing but an imbalanced, distorted response to a stimulus. Then there's another thing called action or inaction. Slightly different. When you're setting a goal that is aligned with your highest values and it's really congruent, the blood supply goes into the forebrain, the executive in the medial prefrontal cortex comes online, and it sees with foresight an inspired vision of what you would love to do. It literally shows you a strategic plan on how to do it. You have the yearning to execute that plan immediately because you're inspired by it. And it automatically sends impulses down into the amygdala to shut off the impulses where the hyper and hypo is. You literally have self-governance and you take refined actions that are prioritized according to strategy, not too much, not too little. And you're really dead center and you're basically poised, you're present, you're purposeful, you're productive, you're really empowered, in other words. So when you're living by your highest values, you take action. But it's not hyper, it's not hypo, it's not too much, not too little. It's very refined. The higher end of the brain does refine motor skills. The lower areas of the brain, the more primitive part of the brain, is more spastic. Too much, too little. Acceleration, deceleration. Stimulus or inhibition. So what happens is when we're living by our highest values, we have moderate, focused, high priority actions that achieve that we take actions on. We don't hesitate. We see it in our mind's eye. We take actions on it. When things are not aligned to our highest values, we tend to procrastinate, hesitate, and frustrate. And then when we are forced into action, we tend to go too much or too little. The commission and omission. We judge ourselves and get judged from others according to that hyper and hypo. Too much, too little. But we are loved and appreciated and respected and inspired when we're sitting there poised and present and following a strategic plan and sticking to priority. So if you're setting goals and they're aligned to the highest values and they're prioritized actions and you see it in your mind's eye and you follow the strategy, you have moderate, focused, inspired actions. But if you don't, you're going to be vulnerable to that same response when somebody calls you in an emergency and you're in a stimulus response animal behavior where you give up or you get totally into hyperdrive. The bottom two will cause stress and distress and age you. The other one will cause you stress and create a wellness for your life. So very important to know what your highest value is, to set goals that are congruent with it, to prioritize your actions, to allow you to get strategies, to follow the strategies. Albert McKinsey in his time trap showed that people that go the farthest in life and achieve the most in life plan with a strategic plan, execute those plans, delegate lower priority things, and get focused on things in a moderate, incremental, progressive manner. If not, you're going to be stuck in the hyper and hypo drives and be emotional and let the animal inside you run you that's out of governance, that needs a cage. Because if you don't govern yourself from within, you get governed from without. But if you're inspired from within, you get the most productive and most inspired actions that are moderated and governed and refined. So if you want a refined life or a really grossly overdone life, the key is to live by high priorities, not low priorities. Thank you for joining me for this presentation today. If you found value out of the presentation, please go below and please share your comments. We certainly appreciate that feedback. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification icons. That way I can bring more content to you and share more to help you maximize your life. I look forward to our next presentation. Thank you so much for joining.